The next piece is written by an English composer, Paul Harvey, not the guy you listen to on the radio. This is a different Paul Harvey. If you've come to our concerts for a while, you've heard us, I think a few years ago we played a piece called Sinfonietta that he wrote. He's a clarinetist and a saxophonist, and in his bio it says that after serving in the band of the Irish Guards, he was a session musician. A session musician is someone that plays sessions, recording sessions, either for TV or for movie soundtracks. So he was a session musician, including playing the contrabass clarinet to represent the monster in soundtracks of many movies of the 1960s. Anyhow, I'm sure he was a fine clarinetist. He writes well for the clarinet. And you might know there's a piece by Benjamin Britten entitled The Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. Well, he's written A Young Person's Guide to the Clarinet Choir. And it's complete with narrator, which I will do the part of the narrator. And we're going to start. Just as a string, this is The Young Person's Guide to the Clarinet Choir. Just as a string orchestra, violins, violas, cellos, and double basses, is the basic sound of a symphony orchestra, so the clarinet choir is the basic sound of a modern concert band. String orchestras have existed for centuries, of course, but the clarinet choir, in its fully developed form, has only been around for about 50 years. The backbone of the clarinet choir is as many as possible of the familiar B-flat clarinets, divided into 3 sections, which can be written divisi like the orchestral violins, to provide up to 6 parts if necessary. Our B-flats are going to introduce the theme, which I'm sure you will recognize. You'll hear the 3 sections, firsts, seconds, and thirds, come in one after another in the style of a little fugue, and then they build up a divisi chord to demonstrate the 6-part effect. Symphonic band and clarinet choir, middle voice, like the orchestra's violas. People who play it often take on the characteristics of viola players, rather introspective and lugubrious. So they've been given a variation in the tonic minor. There are two kinds of contra clarinets at the bottom of the clarinet choir. This one is called the E-flat contra alto because it is an octave below the E-flat contra alto, the E-flat alto clarinet. And so, we come to the lowest instrument of the clarinet choir, the B-flat contrabass, an octave below the bass clarinet and 2 octaves below the standard B-flat clarinet. The rasping sound of the metal B-flat contra is very popular with composers of film and TV music for depicting monsters from outer space and dark deeds of horror. Listen to the sinister contrabass frightening the little clarinets. Now, you've met all the instruments of the clarinet choir. They're going to let you hear what they sound like together, having some fun imitating a jazz big band. I think we'll call this final variation Hickory Bickory Bop. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.